Alright, this is third and final video, and this is my third black box. My second video kind of ended abruptly because my battery died, unbeknownst to me. I thought I was still filming, and I wasn't. Anyway, this is the third box. I've just removed the 6 screws from the case, and as I did not show in the first two, I'm going to actually show taking the box apart for the very first time. So the screws are removed, and I'm just going to lift up gently and actually let's turn this around so that the LCD module is pointing away, and open this up again, and once again we've got the little tie wraps that need to be cut in order to take the case apart. And you want to be careful not to cut the wires and just snip the wow. This one doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. Finally. And did I nick the wire? No, I did not. You gotta be careful. I want to use a good set of snips. Nothing worse than thinking you're cutting a tie wrap and you actually cut the wire itself. Okay, here we go. So let's take these connectors off again. This part's very redundant, I know. One thing I've noticed about these boxes, having done, now this is my third one, that the assemblers who actually put these together at the factory, there's very little rhyme or reason. They pretty much run the wires where they want. Look at that. Well, that's interesting. This one's got the wire in between there. Well, that's going to be a problem. Alright, well, anyway, let's go ahead and finish removing. And I got a third one here. There we go. And the fan. And then the clip. There we go. Now this is going to be a little problematic because, as I said a second ago, if you'll notice, this is inside of that. So, in order to remove that, I'm going to have to cut yet another tie wrap. This guy must have been just off of his coffee break. There we go. There we are. Okay, let's get this back together. And again, male to female. That's the one nice thing, because these plugs are polarized. You can't hook them in wrong. There we go. Alright. I'm going to replace that because this bundle does not need to be messed with anymore. So, there we go. So that's back the way it was. Now I can remove the chassis again, and we'll get back to that when we have to. Alright, where are we? Okay. Removing the screws from the heatsink. On the first two boxes that I opened, there was only 5 of these insulated screws or bolts to remove, but I just noticed that this one has a 6th, and that's going to be a little problematic because it is situated in a location that is not easily gotten to. something right behind that. Let's see if we can get that out without damaging it. Gingerly. I'm not going to return that screw when I put this back together, or this bolt. I'm going to leave that out. That's not necessary, and it goes right down on that connector. That worries me. Okay, anyway. So now we'll just pull out the heatsink and the diodes and set this casing aside. Okay. Everything seems to be okay with that. Here we are. Now, as I said before, you've got 2 and 1, so your orientation isn't too bad. This is the same as the last box that I just did, so I know that I'm working with these 2 and these 2 diodes. Otherwise, I would have plugged it in first to determine which ones are the reds and which ones are the greens that I want to remove. So I'm kind of shortcutting in that respect. So again, you count in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your 6th or center diode. That does not get replaced. I'm just taking that off for reference. So I've got 5 and 5. Pretty simple. These are the reds, and these are the greens. Okay. Now, I've pretty much gone over this time and again. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and hopefully we won't get out of focus. My camera has a tendency to drift on focus, and I apologize, but that's what you get for cheap equipment. It's an Olympus. It's not that cheap, but there are better ones. All right. Get my soldering iron here. Normally I have all this ready before I start, but today is Thursday and I had some other things to do first. Alright, soldering iron is up, solder flux is ready, solder, this roll of solder is 40 years old. This belonged to actually it's 50 years old. This belonged to my father. He used to have his own electronics business, audio repair, and he bought this brand new at a company called Allegheny Electronics. It used to be called Altoona Electronics in Cumberland, Maryland, and they changed the name to Cumberland Electronics because I guess people didn't like the fact that they were buying from a company outside of the city back in that day. Anyway, still have it, and there's still a ton of rosin core solder on here. This thing has been with me forever. Anyway, okay. And then my solder wick, which we talked about last time. Good old solder wick. I need to trim that up. Forgot to cut that off last time. There we go. Alright. Diodes. 6500s on this one again, because I want to ensure continuity with the last box that I just did. So let's find the 6500s. Thing about opening these packages, you got to be careful, because if they fall out of the bag and you haven't gotten them marked, you'll never know what you're working with. Trust me. Okay, 6500s. Come off there. Come off there. There we go. All right. Got our 2 diodes, and again, I did ground myself. Make sure there's no static charge. I know I'm repeating myself. Okay. I'm pretty much going to shut this off. Go ahead and unsolder these, take them off. That was covered in the last video, even though it was a little bit out of focus. I might come back on when I'm resoldering just for touch-up. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off now, and I'll be back in just a quick second. Okay. I've taken off the greens. Now I'm going to resolder the 10,000 Ks on. Whoops. Come on. Okay. I've got the diodes done. Okay. So we've got the battery replaced. Let's pick back up where we were. Now I don't know what was missed before that battery shut off the last second, but we've got the two channels over here and the one channel over here and the LCD board connected back. Now we're going to power up the box, make sure that all the LEDs are in fact operating correctly in spite of my soldering attempts. Okay, here we go. Alright, power on. Fans do not come on. Alright, that could possibly mean that I've plugged in the wrong connector, even though I thought I had it right. There we go. See? Even though I've done this 3 times, I still had the wrong connector plugged in for the fans. Alright, so let's take a look here. That's my power cord. Alright. Well, my 4 LEDs are not working. So that can only mean one of 2 things. That I inadvertently burned them out as I was soldering them, or that what I perceived to be plus and minus were in fact minus and plus. So, we're going to go back and unsolder and resolder, and that's the name of the game. See you in a bit. Alright, just as an FYI, as I said at the beginning of the video when I was first replacing the diodes, I said that the package showed negative and positive, but that the diode itself had a different mark, and that I was going to go with the mark that was on the diode itself because somebody could have put the package sticker on incorrectly, or any number of other things might have happened. Well, guess what? The package was right, and the stamp on the diode was wrong. So the 4 that I just replaced did not work when I hooked it back up. So I disconnected everything again, went back, reversed the polarity on those diodes because, as I said, polarity counts all the time, so I should have followed the instructions on the package and not did my own thing. So I'm going to go ahead and hook her back up here real quick, and we'll be back in a sec. Okay, we've got the box put right back up together, and let's move everything around so that we can see that by reversing the polarity, I got everything back to where it needed to be. Let's change the okay, there we go. Now let's channel A. There we go. We got the white here and the white here back. Channel B. Aha! 65K here, 65K here. All diodes up and running. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, all the screws are back in place. Case is put back together. Everything's torqued down. I did not put that one 6 screw back in by the LCD module like I indicated, because I didn't like the proximity. And you know the old saying, if something can go wrong, it will. So let's plug this back in one more time just to make sure. There we go. Flame on. Channel 1. Channel 2. Full tilt boogie. Alright, there we have it. That's all three of my boxes. Everything's been replaced the way I want it to be replaced. Once I get the tank actually set up, get water in it, get some live animals in there, I'll be able to check to see exactly how well all this effort is going to pay off or not. The beauty is, what's done can always be undone, and if I don't like the 10Ks or the 6500Ks or the 380s or the 320s or any of the other diodes that I use to replace the reds and greens, I can always go back and change them again. So thank you for your patience. This is the third and final video in the Chinese Black Box LED Proof Group series, and I hope something here has been of use. Happy reefing.